welcome back to another episode of Late Entry. For the first time, we've got a full house, got the whole crew here. We've got Buck,
How's it going?
Kyle,
What up, though?
Nolan,
Hey everyone.
and Double Dose, your host. I feel like I'm getting outblacked by Kyle every time we start this. Everybody's like, hi, and Kyle's like, what up, no?
It's the Detroit say it's the Lions thing. What up, though? It's the blackest I'll sound this whole episode. Don't worry.
So we've got a little bit of housekeeping. We're going to try to do, instead of 1 2-hour episode every week, we're going to start doing 2 1-hour episodes. Make that a little bit more palatable for the listeners. Also give us a time to kind of cover more stuff as it happens throughout the week. So we're going to be dropping 1 episode on Tuesday, 1 episode on Friday. As always, if you are liking what you're hearing from us, give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Really helps us grow. So the NFL went crazy today. It was free agency, so we've got a lot of moves to get into. We'll start with the Seahawks got Sam Darnold. They got him for 3 years, $110.5 million, which is $55 million guaranteed. Buck, your thoughts?
It's a great contract for Sam Darnold. So if you are Sam Darnold, you're probably happy as hell right now. But I think all in all, he's going there with almost nothing as far as weapons. I think part of the reason he succeeded with Minnesota was the weapons he had around him. So for me, I think this might be a little premature if you're a Seahawks fan and celebrating. They need some weapons around him for him to succeed. And I think this is sink or swim for Sam Darnold. I think his career is definitely kind of, on the line, you could say, in a way. I think, he's been bounced around so much. He really showed, all of his talents, I think, with Minnesota. So can he bring it to Seattle? I think he's got a relationship with, I think it's either the OC or the head coach over there. So hopefully some familiarity will help. But they need to get some weapons around him in order for him to succeed. I foresee if they go less than 500 next season, they're seriously questioning this signing.
Just to follow what you were saying, it's Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator. They were together in San Francisco.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking of. Yep.
Yeah, and I think that the Seahawks really do need to find those weapons. I'm not sure if they're going to be attacking some wide receivers in the draft class. We'll be jumping the gun just a little bit here with the DK Metcalf. He's out of Seattle now, so who's going to be taking that wide receiver 1 spot? I'm not sure if Tyler Lockett's going to be able to step up.
He's gone.
Be able to produce those numbers like that.
Lockett's gone. They released him.
They released Lockett, too.
Must have missed that one this weekend, but that's just crazy that they're not going to be able to really do too much. He was surrounded with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison in Minnesota, and it's just going to be really hard to translate that part of being a quarterback without having a stud receiver.
Yeah.
Kyle?
Yeah, I think just having JSN left is tough. The Seattle Seahawks offensive line was the 31st worst according to PFF last season. Sam Darnold had a really, really good O-line last year. And, I mean, they overperformed for what everyone thought they were going to be. But, I mean, they gave him time in the pocket. Yeah, he did a little bit when he had to create some extra time for himself. But he is kind of that old-fashioned quarterback. He's a pocket passer. He's not going to run crazy on you. Hearing that he worked with Clint Kubiak and Sam Fran, I forgot all about that. That is a little reassuring because that kind of felt like it was the kickstart to him kind of showing that it might have been the coaches before, right? It might have been nobody giving him a chance when he was still growing and learning and being under these bad franchises with bad teams. But this team is not that good, and they've sold more than they've bought so far in free agency. So it doesn't bode well if this is his last chance. It's a little scary, a little daunting. I think having Clint Kubiak helps. I think having the confidence he has of a 15-2 season under his belt is going to help, but how far is that going to take him? I suppose we'll see. I grade this as like a B- because it's like, yeah, based on what the study guide showed, like, yeah, that's a good answer to make, but who knows how that's going to play out. there were so many variables in his success in Minnesota. So it's kind of a wait and see game.
Yeah.
I think it's I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting that they, if I'm not mistaken, they missed the playoffs due to a tiebreaker strength of schedule last season, and so
Yeah.
it's not even like they were bad. And now it looks like they're doing a full reboot of
Right.
that. They've got like you said, they've got Clint Kubiak there, and Clint seems to be a really good offensive coordinator. But I mean, as you guys have all pointed out, no weapons, and so they've got just Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think that it's tough. You've got someone that worked so well with a really good OC last year, really good head coach, and then so many weapons. I mean, you guys have kind of said all of it. It's just, it seems like it could be a tough situation for him to be in to try to prove that he is a legit starting quarterback. They did. I don't think they're too bad on the hook though. 3 years. His contract breaks down into $36 million a year, which isn't terrible. Only 3 years, and then $55 million guaranteed. So, I mean, they could move on from him if it doesn't work out without really losing too much cap. It's not like there's a huge hit on there. What I guess I'm curious from. Go ahead, Nolan.
Oh, I was just going to say, and also to add for the Seahawks, I think that this really gives a pretty good chance for Kenneth Walker to blossom. He's kind of had a so-so start, had a kind of breakout rookie year, but hasn't really made that next step to like the elite running backs of the league yet. And I think that having these open positions out on the outside, I think he's going to see a lot more action and be able to make that next jump too.
I wonder if we're going to see a lot more like 2 running back sets with Sharp like doing pass catching because they don't have any receivers.
Right.
I mean, it's a tough spot to be in where you've got, now you're the man there at quarterback and have no weapons. So we're going to see how that winds up working out. What I'm curious about is, so this kind of ties into the next part, Raiders got Geno Smith. So who would you rather have if you were, I guess, either franchise, the Seahawks or the Raiders? Who do you think is a better quarterback, Geno or Sam Darnold?
I think taking Sam Darnold because he's younger is smarter. The thing to me that is a little bit of a head scratcher of the choice of Darnold is, as far as the choice of Darnold is that Geno had the best year of his career after sucking with every other team he played for under Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll leaves, Geno gets worse. Not that it wasn't all his fault this year, but Geno was worse this year than he was under Pete Carroll. So what makes you think that McDonald is going to be able to take a quarterback that's been really crappy with every team he's ever played with, got good for a season, and now that like you just replaced the same problem and brought it into your organization again. So I don't know. Maybe he'll do it different this time. Maybe he sees something in Darnold that he can work with more. Maybe they're trying to transition to more of the Michigan offense that he was coaching a couple years ago, McDonald, I mean, where it's a run-first offense, like you guys are saying, 2 running back, 2 tight end sets. I don't know. A lot of 12-man maybe, but I don't like either of these a ton. I think Geno going to play for Pete Carroll again is awesome for him. I think Seattle wasn't going to get much more out of him, so they went with the younger option of kind of what they had and hoped that they could transform that younger guy, but we'll see what happens.
I feel like, it's I almost like it for the Raiders more, just reuniting, like you said, Pete Carroll and Geno. I don't think, to steal a phrase from Shannon Sharp, which weighs more, a pound of feathers or a pound of bricks, is the same thing. That's kind of how I feel with these 2 quarterbacks.
100%.
Buck or Nolan, anything from either of you guys, or kind of feel the same way?
The same way. I mean, I think that both moves are both individually good for the players and not the franchises. Like, I don't think Geno to the Raiders or Sam to the Seahawks are anything that's going to, immediately put them in contention, immediately put them in, oh my gosh, they've turned it around. I don't think any of that is true. I think individually, I think the best move for Geno was to go back to Pete Carroll. I think that's where he's going to flourish. That's where he's going to make his money. That's where he's going to have the best position. And I think the same thing for Sam Darnold. I don't think there was really any anybody that thought that he was going to be able to re-sign with the Vikings, with JJ McCarthy being on the
Right.
roster still. I don't think that there was a better option really for Sam other than the Seahawks. I think he got the best deal he could. So I think that the story here is more individually, both players probably got the best case scenario. And I think it moves the needle not for either franchise. Like, I don't think it moves the needle one bit. I think they're both in the exact same position they were the day before.
I don't know. I think it's better.
Yeah.
I think it's better for the Raiders in just the sense that they've got Jacoby Myers, they got Brock Bowers. They needed someone to be able to throw the ball to them. And
Yeah, and then you get more of that veteran presence in Vegas than you would with Sam. That's 100%. Yeah,
I think you're putting a serviceable quarterback into the Raiders situation, whereas the Seahawks, like you mentioned, it's kind of last chance for Sam Darnold. So we'll see if he's able to carry them. Maybe they'll get somebody really good in the draft, like a good speedster or something.
Yeah, and like Buck said, we do have to commend Sam Darnold for chasing the bag and getting the best deal that he could. I don't think that there was another NFL team out there that was willing to give up that much money for an unproven, I can't call him unproven because of the last year in Minnesota, but potentially a system quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
I have to wonder if somebody offered him like the Baker contract from last year of 3 years, 100, and then Seattle maybe were like, no, we want him enough to pay 10 more or something. I don't know for sure. That's just a little bit of a thought that just ran through as you said that. And I'm glad he secured that thing as well. I mean, you never know, especially when out of your 6 years in the NFL, you've had one good season. Yeah, go get the longevity contract, man. Go get 30 mil a year, whatever 70, 80 guaranteed that it probably is.
55.
55. Okay,
Yeah.
That's a little lower than I was, but it makes sense. It makes sense from
He's
the
got a
Seattle
better-
standpoint.
It's a good
Yeah.
good deal for both the quarterback and the franchise, just in the sense that they could get rid of him without losing too much, but also he got paid. I remember people were thinking he was going to wind up getting like around 40 before the end of the season. Then he had his last two games. I remember a big topic was like, he's cost himself some money. So I know a lot of people were thinking he was going to be around like 30, 33. So to get 36 is good for him as long as he keeps earning it. And then, for the franchise, 55 guaranteed, not that high. So we'll see.
And
what
I'm not
happens with
sure
that.
if this is where you were going to lead next, but I have to wonder, like, man, what would it have been like if Devonte didn't request that trade and go to the Jets and now end up with the? I mean, obviously he won out and he's on a great, promising team as well. But the Raiders would be that much better getting Geno to throw with Devonte in that room as well. I mean, he hasn't flourished with any of the quarterbacks they've given him with the Raiders, so I see why they moved on, and there was no coming to a common ground there. And clearly it worked out for him. He got put in a great spot with the Rams.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay, yeah. So you kind of touched on it, Kyle. Devonte going to the Rams. So they've got him. They kept Matt Stafford. I think that they're going to win the division next year. I think Seattle's taking a big step back. They are releasing Cooper Kupp, which, I mean, I think that Devonte over Kupp is an upgrade. But then, I mean, Arizona, I think, is getting better. And then what's crazy is all of the people that the Niners just lost. So they've had so far depart Debo before free agency with the trade. Then they just lost guard Aaron Banks to the Packers, cornerback Travarius Ward to the Colts, safety Toluna Hufanga to the Broncos, linebacker Dre Greenlaw also to the Broncos, offensive tackle Jalen Moore to the Chiefs, Elijah Mitchell to the Chiefs, running back, and then backup quarterback Josh Dobbs to the Patriots. So I mean the Niners are taking a humongous step back, I think, at least.
Yeah.
It's a lot of talent. I know that they've got people to replace them. At least they feel comfortable doing that. But I know their cap situation was starting to come up after years of contention or being in contending. Go ahead.
They also released the fullback, Jusek.
Oh yeah, I forgot. They just did that. Yep, right before we started. And he's been a staple for them. He's been their halfback, their short yardage. He's been a monster. Although they got a tight end that I think is going to be a bigger blocking tight end. I forgot his name. Maybe Fuller. But
I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about. I mean, it's not like it's a guy that's replacing Kittle, but
right.
Right.
So I think
Luke Farrell.
Luke what?
Luke Farrell.
Luke Farrell. That's what it is. Yeah.
3 year, 20 and a quarter mil.
Damn. Okay.
So
Yeah. So I think
Sounds like the 49ers do have a little bit of space to fill some cap. I know they're still paying McCaffrey up the butt right now, but outside of that, they're still going to have to really try to get some pieces in there to fix what they've lost.
well, man,
right, and there was rumors that Brandon Ayuk was gonna requested a trade, and that they might trade Ayuk too.
Yeah, I think he's on his way out. I know Debo's gone
Yeah.
already. I think they're planning on relying on what?
They
Cap?
should have did that last year then, because I mean they signed him to that contract. He played like 4 games after signing one of the biggest wide receiver contracts as a wide receiver 1.5 on his own team.
Yeah.
That was a weird decision by the front office there.
Yeah. So I think Kyle, you mentioned it last week. I think that we should all bet on the Rams winning their division. I think that they're going to make a deep playoff run, and I think that they're going to get. I mean, they're stacked. They're reloaded and stacked again. And then the
I
Seahawks.
love that they find a way to just keep doing that. Sean McVay and Les Snead is 49ers. Les Snead's 49ers. I can't think of the GM for the Rams, but they have done such a fantastic job at rebuilding without even having to go through a rebuild. It's insane. You lost the best defensive tackle to ever play the game potentially, and you didn't even skip a beat. You made the playoffs and got a playoff win and almost beat the Super Bowl champs. Like they are scary, man. They are very scary. And Stafford has been such a great addition to that process. I have to. It is one of the best trades that's worked out on both sides. That Goff and Stafford trade. I mean, I'm very grateful to have a new beginning for the Lions, but I'm glad that Stafford didn't have to live the career of every Lions quarterback since Bobby Lane.
Yeah.
Every Lions player that's stuck around.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And other big quarterback news. Steelers, or I'm sorry, not the Steelers, the Jets. The Jets get Justin Fields. So they got him on, speaking of contracts that are very friendly to the organization, they got him on a 2-year, $40 million deal with $30 million guaranteed, which is very cheap.
And I think not only that, but I think that was the best deal that Justin Fields could have gotten.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, he gets to be a starter. I think more than the money, he gets to be a starter.
And $30 million guaranteed, and he gets to go back with his buddy. Didn't what's his name? Go to Ohio State?
Yeah, he played with Garrett Wilson in college.
Yeah, Garrett
right.
Wilson.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that connection.
I think that could be a good fit. I think
it's a phenomenal fit.
I know, Buck, you and I have both been Justin Fields believers since the Bears days. So
we might be the last two.
I've been stashing him in a dynasty league since last year, waiting for this.
Oh, come on, Spence.
Spence asks for Justin Fields all the time.
Yep, and I know because I'm in 2 different dynasty leagues. Buck's got him in one, I've got him in the other. I believe in him for sure. I think that he got a raw deal with the Bears, and I think that he did a decent job with the Steelers. I think that he's got even more weapons with the Jets. I think that I would like to see him in that culture. I think he's a hard worker. He's been resilient, so I think they've got a good shot. I think that he can give them more than Zach Wilson did, and they won a few games with Zach Wilson. So yeah, I like the deal for them. What do you guys think?
I think the Jets are still going to be the Jets, to be honest. I don't think that this really is going to do anything for them. I really don't believe that he's going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he's going to make any sort of playoff run or playoff push. I think the Jets are going to stick where the Jets are.
Damn. Kyle?
I'd like to hear, as a fellow Lions fan, I'd like to hear your opinion, Nolan, at a different date about the Aaron Glenn hire and the impact that makes, because clearly you don't think it's that big. I think that having Aaron Glenn as his head coach is going to be huge, because he has done nothing but show me as a Lions fan that he can take a whole lot of nothing and turn it into something. And I'm not even saying Justin Fields is nothing, but he took a defense with 16 men on IR, and they weren't that great, but they were sufficient, and they won games, and he had a good script. He saw how the game was going to go and handled it the right way. Obviously, he's a defensive coach, but from the culture that he brings and the belief he brings into his players, I think that's the best person for Justin Fields to be learning under. So I don't know that that's going to turn into Justin Fields' success, though. I hear you. Like, yeah, I'm not 100% a believer in Justin Fields, but I do think this is the best scenario.
And also to counterpoint that, it's really hard to get a new quarterback into a rookie head coach like that and succeed.
That's a good point.
That's fair.
I really don't think that Aaron Glenn is going to be any offensive mastermind. Maybe he can learn a couple things from Dan Campbell, be a glue guy, try to keep the team together in that way. But I don't think that he's really going to be doing anything special with Justin Fields.
So it's going to come back then to like the whole premise of like the big question with Justin Fields his whole career, right? It's going to be if we've got Aaron Glenn running the defense, if we've got the defense of the Jets back up to a top 5 defense in the league, this is all going to come down to, can Justin Fields be sufficient in an offensive scheme without turning the ball over? Because if you can hold people to low points on defense, if they can just score enough and not give the ball back and give them extra times, keep the defense on the field, I mean, I think that's going to come down to it, the whole thing then, right? Can Justin Fields,
and I'm pretty sure that's been the Jets' whole thing is be really good at defense, we'll figure out the offense. So maybe the head coach move was good for defense. I don't think anything's going to change on offense for them.
Okay. I mean, they've got in their division the Bills. Obviously, that's the big one. They've got the Patriots, who we'll talk about in just a few minutes, made some moves. They've got the Dolphins, who did bring back Tyreek after he said that he was going to leave. And then that's the 4 teams, right? Yeah.
That's the 4.
Yep. I mean, I don't know. I think that they could be the second best team in the division.
Oh, 100%. I think I have to disagree. I think this is a great move for the Jets. I think not only is it great contract, friendly both for the player and for the team, but I think you're right. I think having a new quarterback, this is only his 4th year with a new head coach, especially a defensive-minded head coach, is a little bit worrisome. I will have to say, though, Aaron Glenn had to make defensive schemes against Justin Fields. So I feel like if anybody has a good idea of what he can and cannot do, it would probably be, somebody along the lines of Aaron Glenn. Having to play him twice a year for 2 years and come up with those defensive schemes for him. So I think that shows that maybe the Jets were the front runner for Justin, and it was really a matter of Justin and his agent going between, do we want that deal, or I didn't think he was going back to Pittsburgh after they sat him. So I thought he was moving on, and I thought this was the best position for him. I think Justin Fields is in a very similar position than Sam Darnold, probably not as dire, but I do think it's sink or swim. I think he's got to have a really good season, and like you said, Spencer, he cannot turn the ball over. He's got to protect the ball. I think the moment you have the turnover problem is where everything starts to go downhill. So if you can protect the ball and play a decent season 1, and then come into season 2 with a little bit more of like, okay, this is what went right or wrong with our offensive scheme. Let's shore that up and have a really good second season. I think that the Jets found their quarterback for the next couple of years. I mean, I don't think it's going to turn it around just like that, but I think it's a very, very good start, starting young. They're really pushing youth, moving away from the 41-year-olds who can't move. So I think getting a mobile quarterback is almost the exact opposite. So I think it's a great move, both sides involved. And I think that his agent did a really good job. I did not think he was – honestly, as much as a Justin Fields fan as I am, I didn't think he was worth it. $30 million guaranteed is crazy.
That's not that much, though. I mean, that's 1 year of Sam Darnold's contract.
Right, but you think about it from not being a Bears fan. Like, I don't think he had 2 years. Like, I don't think the years he had with the Bears were bad. I think the organization was bad.
Yeah.
But if you look at his stats on the Bears, they're not good. at all. And then you go to the Steelers where he was benched, so you don't even get to see. You saw 6 decent games of him, and that was it. So basically, you're coming into this getting a quarterback with 6 decent games, really, that he has under his belt.
Garrett Wilson is going to be the best receiver he's played with.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
So keeping it from that, the team that just lost Justin Fields, the Steelers, they get DK Metcalf. They also just lose Najee Harris. He just signed with the Chargers, also right before we just recorded this. So now you've got Steelers are going to have Pickens and DK Metcalf. I think that's going to be good. It's just a matter of who's going to be throwing them the ball. If it's Russ, there's the potential of like Aaron Rodgers. What do you guys think from them? You think they're going to go forward, or you think they're going to go backwards?
I think that they are going to do exactly what Mike Tomlin does every year, and they're going to go 10-7 and lose in the first round of the playoffs. With Aaron Rodgers, with Russ, I don't think it matters. I think that's what's going to happen.
You don't think DK elevates them?
I do. I just don't know.
From 9-8 to 10-7.
Yeah, right. So they'll go. All right. So they'll go 11. Was it 9-8 this last year? Or was it 10-7 this last year?
Who the hell knows?
It was one of the two. That's all we know.
Because I think it was right above, and then they got one game better. So maybe 11-6 this year, but not a damn game better than that. I think DK helps. I think DK is still DK. He's ever since I traded him away and got hornswoggled by my buddy in a trade in 2019, 2020, something, whatever that breakout season he had, and I traded him. Ever since that year, DK has been Mr. Inconsistent. So I don't believe, maybe with Aaron Rodgers, if Aaron Rodgers and him really found this like connection and the offense was really clicking with Aaron, that would really be like the only scenario I see them breaking through a just 500 plus 500 team.
What about if Aaron Rodgers went there and they did a team ayahuasca trip?
Just to help the culture. It's all about the culture. Mike Tomlin too.
Culture.
God.
Well, I saw something on Twitter that was like, so Mike Tomlin says, welcome to Pittsburgh, DK. We just traded for you. DK says, great. I've always wanted to play for you, coach. Who's my QB? Tomlin, happy to have you. How does 5 years, 150 mil sound? DK, sounds awesome. Who's my QB? Tomlin. All right, DK, gotta go. See you soon.
I mean, Russ has thrown to him before, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think true. DK was better with Russ than Geno, if I'm not mistaken. And
yeah,
contrary
from my memory, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Contrary to most people's thoughts too, I think Rodgers has something left in the tank. So, more than 1 year removed from the ACL or from the Achilles.
Yeah. Maybe
I have
brick wall as the offensive line. Maybe he'll do all right.
Steelers' offensive line is straight, aren't they?
I think Steelers is pretty good. I don't know where they graded out
like
PFF.
For Aaron Rodgers.
But I think she's referencing how bad the Jets were. Like they were all paper bags.
A literal brick wall because.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers needs that Green Bay level of protection.
Yeah, legit.
I think he needs time.
And honestly, if he can get a really, really good top tier O line, I think Spencer's right. I think he does have more in the tank, but he can't move worth a shit.
He was coming off of an Achilles.
Right. That's my point. And he's also 41. So, like, you got to get him an O-line for him to flourish. You got to give him the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. That's what Brady needed when he went to Tampa, right? He got a great O-line, a great D-line, won a Super Bowl.
Too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I hear you.
Well, if we stay on the Rodgers topic, what other teams do you guys think he could possibly go to outside of Pittsburgh?
Okay, so that actually leads me into I've got a dark horse team for him, I think. I could see him winding up with the Colts. I think that they let they would bring the two ARs together, Anthony Richardson, Aaron Rodgers. You'd put sit Richardson down for a little bit, let him learn.
The young and the old.
Yeah, let him learn from a little bit of I mean, like I said, I think that Rodgers has some left. So let him learn from Aaron Rodgers a little bit, hang out. Rodgers gets to play, throw to. I mean, they've got some decent receivers over there. They've got Josh Downs. They've got who's the big one?
Pittman.
Yeah,
Pittman.
Michael Pittman. Yep. And then the Colts the Colts just got two defensive backs. They got Cam Bynum from the Vikings, who's a pretty good cornerback, and they got Trevarius Ward from the Niners, like we talked about. So I think that they're going to have a better defense. I think you get Rodgers in there. They've got a pretty good offensive line too. Give him some protection. I could see it happening. Am I crazy?
I don't think you're crazy. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think the kicker to that theory is Jim Irsay would have to come out and like say he was. Well, I mean, I guess unless you're thinking he's gonna just like lead AR into being the franchise.
Yeah.
But it would I don't know. It would be even if he didn't come out and say anything, I guess it would be the sign that Jim Irsay is like, okay, I was wrong to pick this kid fifth, and I don't think Jim Irsay's ego is gonna allow that. He cares so much about how he is perceived that he will. I think he would rather just like die on the sword in a lot of ways.
I don't think that we're not getting rid of Anthony Richardson. I think, and Kyle, you and I talked about this in text a few days ago. Anthony Richardson everyone knew he was going to be a project. He was very raw. He has a very, very high ceiling, but I mean, he's raw. He was a project quarterback, so I think you let him sit for a little bit, let him learn.
But fifth overall is, I guess, where I'm at. Like, you take a project quarterback fifth, I guess, because there was 1, 2, 3, and then everybody else in that draft class.
Yeah.
But to me, Anthony Richardson should have never been in that 1, 2. Like, it should have been 1, 2 gap, like big gap, and then maybe like end of first, beginning of second, you go get. So you like that should have been a trade back, right? I don't know. It's
unless you like him and you just don't want to see him get taken by somebody else.
Exactly, which is what it was. But then they were like, they didn't have a scenario where he could actually like learn from somebody right away. Right. I mean, was Joe Flacco on the roster at the start of last year?
Not his rookie year. I think it was Gardner.
Oh no, because he was with the Browns, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then last year he was there.
Yeah, then this season he was. So you didn't even really have an option besides him when you drafted him, and you knew he was a project. I don't know. I've never really liked the pick where it was. I think Anthony Richardson could have been a lot better served being drafted later with a more established program around him where he could actually learn NFL offense for a year, but he didn't get that. So either you give it to him now or it's over. So I get, I'm not saying you're crazy. I'll stop. I'll let somebody else talk here, but
I do want to point out.
Yeah, you're not crazy.
He's only played about one season. He played, I think, 2 or 3 games his rookie year, got hurt for the rest of the season, came back, played so many games last season, got injured and 11. Got benched. So, I mean, he's played roughly 1 full season.
And nothing much to show for it, honestly.
Right.
High highs, low lows.
Right.
Yeah. This year he had just as many picks as touchdowns.
I don't know. I feel like if they do go with Aaron Rodgers, I see I see the point of letting him learn from Aaron Rodgers, sitting him kind of. I just don't know if I think Aaron Rodgers has too big of an ego, as well as Jim Irsay has too big of an ego. Like, I think there's going to be definitely some butting heads of like how you let this kid learn from Aaron Rodgers and how that looks like. Because Aaron, I mean, like I feel like very few really, really good quarterbacks. I'm talking like, the best of the best here. I'm not talking our Brock Purdy's, okay? I'm talking like best of the best who've been in the league for a minute, who've been proven, right? Been to a Super Bowl, all that jazz, right? What incentive do you have to go teach somebody else, right? Like, you don't I mean, obviously money talks, and if the Colts have enough cap space to pay Aaron Rodgers an outrageous amount of money, like, and that's all that Aaron Rodgers cares about, then heck yeah. But like at the end of the day, I feel like Aaron Rodgers is really chasing another Super Bowl before he retires, and I just don't know if that's the best spot for him to go to do that.
Well, let me say,
I think honestly the best spot for him to do that would be Pittsburgh. I'm not saying that it would happen if he went to Pittsburgh, but it's really the only option that has the weapons he would need at present to go and contend. And I feel like I think it's a good idea. I think it's like you're saying, like a dark horse. I just don't know that if Aaron Rodgers has 2 years left in the tank, do you think he's going to spend those 2 years teaching Anthony Richardson? No, he's going to spend those 2 years going for a chip. And I don't know how much that benefits Anthony Richardson, meaning how much does that benefit the franchise and Jim Irsay?
Well, let me say 2 to 3 things. One, Anthony Richardson's only making an annual salary of about $8 million, so they could fit cap wise. Yep, that could fit cap wise. 2, where else is Rodgers? Rodgers has got to be feeling at this point kind of like humbled, as long as he's not trying to retire. Like, and I don't think that he wants to retire on that, but he's got to be kind of feeling humbled. I mean, the places that he could have potentially gone were like the Rams. They kept Stafford. The Steelers. Yeah. What if the Steelers decide that they wanted the continuity of Russ with DK? Where else does Rodgers go?
The Giants.
But they have an awful offensive line. I mean, does he want to get fucking destroyed, be getting smoked again on the same field?
That's the thing I'll say about the Colts is that their offensive line is pretty solid and promising. And while they didn't perform that well this year, those exact same guys performed really well a year or 2 years ago. Who's
in the Colts division? Can you guys refresh me on that?
Houston.
Yeah.
Jags.
Yep. Titans?
Yes.
Yep, Titans, Jags, Colts, Texans.
Okay, so the Texans are solid. Would you rather compete in that division and try to get out of it, or would you rather go to the Steelers and have to play the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns?
Browns, I mean, I'm not worried about the Browns this year. But
the Browns' defense has been solid. They've been solid, though. The Browns' defense gave Lamar a hard time last season.
Yeah, that's fair. And I guess Kenny Pickett isn't.
That's a good point, Spencer.
So
because why would you? In that same breath, like, why would you want to go face the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Commanders if you go to the Giants when you could play Houston, the Jags, and the Titans twice a year?
Thank you. You're talking about the path of least resistance. That's why.
You know why you do it? I don't care if you're 41 or not. You go for that discount double check, baby. And you go and be Aaron Rodgers, dude.
But go be Aaron Rodgers in a weak division where you're literally only going against the Texans. I mean, if you're talking about him trying to win another chip, that's where it's mutually beneficial for both sides. The Colts get maybe 2 good years out of Rodgers. They're competitive in their division. They potentially go out further. As opposed to anywhere else. I mean, he's getting the shit beat out of him in the Giants. And the Steelers, I mean, that's one of the hardest divisions in football outside of, I would say, the NFC North.
I think the Steelers are just the one team they're always solid, and you can always trust Tomlin to put a really good team together.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, he might have a longer leash with the Steelers because they'd get rid of Russ, so they'd have no one else behind them, whereas if you played shitty with the Colts, there's always the other AR looming. But aside from that, I mean...
Right.
But like I said, that's my dark horse.
I dig it.
You heard it here first.
I heard it here first, ladies and gents. So, discussing Aaron Rodgers' plans, I actually was thinking about a weird option, and it could only happen if he was given a 1-year contract because of the implications of the rookie underneath him. It would be unfortunate for a Lions fan, but I could see A-Rod going to the Vikings, and I honestly think that could be the best situation for him. You give him a 1-year deal for 20-something mil, and he's going to have a completely different perspective on training a young quarterback than he did the first time, and also just knowing that he's there to try to win now, and if it doesn't happen, they're going to move on.
You're going to have the
Kevin O'Connell would be in heaven, and he's turned just about every quarterback that he's had, reject or not, into a great quarterback. So I think it would be great for Aaron for a bounce back, and I think it would be great for JJ to learn.
So you're just trying to give Aaron Rodgers the Brett Favre treatment, aren't you?
Just have him
Green Bay, we'll go play with the Jets for a little bit. Maybe go see what we can do in Minnesota.
Well, hoping that his ego got a little smaller, maybe, but
Yeah, and hopefully he's not stealing any money from the women's college or whatever he was doing there.
So you're just gonna have the torn Achilles brothers together on the Vikings? They can. That's
hell
what
yeah, it was an ACL and an Achilles, but yeah, the messed up leg brothers. Yeah.
Was it an ACL for?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
ACL.
Yep. I don't know. I think I would, as a Rodgers fan for all of my life, I would hate to see him going out like Russ. Like, you're gonna have him be a Hall of Famer and then go somewhere for basically a year because he was set out for a year, and then have him go to another place for 1 year. I think that the Steelers if you compared, let's take my dark horse out of it with the Colts. If you just put the Steelers and the Vikings next to each other, he probably gets a longer deal from the Steelers, and both divisions are hard as fuck.
Not sure that Rodgers is looking for a long deal at this point in his career.
You think he wants a 1 year though?
He's
I
41
think he's
years
looking
old.
for as much money as possible in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah. With a clear path.
I don't think that the Vikings would do it. I don't think that they would get rid of Sam Darnold, who they could have had for 30-some million, and then give Rodgers a bag. I could be wrong.
But it's
That's
a longevity. Fair. It's a longevity thing. That's why I say it has to be 1 year. If Rodgers isn't willing to do that, then you don't even entertain it as a Vikings front office.
Well, and not only that, but why would you sign Sam Darnold to 4 years when you have J.J. McCarthy? Sam Darnold's still fairly young, and J.J. McCarthy, I feel like, has a little bit of a higher ceiling, theoretically, than Sam Darnold. So I think this is the better. I think the argument could be made for the Colts just by the Colts division in and of itself, and because it's a little bit of an easier division than, say, where the Steelers are at or where the Vikings are at, but I think it's the bet. I mean, to have Justin Jefferson, they just re-signed Aaron Jones. They've got a good defense. Their offensive line isn't, terrible. I think you're right. I think it would have to be a 1 year deal, but I think that would be maybe not the easiest path, but I do think it would be the most competitive. If the only thing on his mind is I want to make the most money and I want to win another Super Bowl, I don't think he's doing it with the Colts, with what they've got. And I think the Colts, in order to get what he would need to do it, I don't think they're going to have enough cap space. But, they do have a good O-line. They do have a really good defense. But I don't know if Aaron Rodgers can get it done with Josh Downs and Michael Pittman Jr. But I do think he could get it done with Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones and Hawkinson. So, I don't know. I think just based on the personnel that the Vikings have, and being that JJ needs to probably learn from somebody who's been around the league, for a while, for him to be able to hit that ceiling, I think that's the best move for the Vikings as an organization. But you're right, Spencer. I don't know if they would have the amount of patience or money to give just a 1 year deal to him.
And as for an alternate theory that probably won't happen but could, Aaron Rodgers chooses to sign with nobody, waits to see who the best quarterback in the league that gets hurt is, and then try to get in with that team. Not likely. No guaranteed money there, but always an option.
I feel like to be at his age, to be out of football for any amount of time is going to be the end.
Yeah.
I don't disagree
Joe
with
Flacco?
Mr. Jeffrey.
Flacco's younger, though. Yeah, 2 years younger.
A couple years. Sure, yeah.
And no ACL or Achilles injury.
Right.
That man going to go sit down on the couch and get stiff, and it's going to be over.
So my closing thoughts on that is hindsight is 2020, but it does feel like Rodgers tried to pull a Brady when he went to the Jets, and he tried to be like, let me recruit all my boys. We're going to win a chip. And then it didn't work, and it became a Brett Favre. But it was worse because he didn't even get to really play, and when he did, it was bad.
About the 3 snaps he got last year. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, his biggest highlight of 2023 was carrying out an American flag.
Literally.
Hey, that shit was hype, so I was pumped for that one.
That was tough.
It pains me to see my boy going outside like that. I'm sure that you guys are all happy.
It happens to about 99% of NFL players. They go on for too long.
I'm just talking to the 3 people that hate him the most. Look at you guys' laundry and tell me there's not some bitter berries there.
I didn't hate him until the Hail Mary. I'm gonna say that. When he threw that Hail Mary after being injured for I don't know how long he was out, but came back and just like balled out on us. That's where
Phantom face mask play should have never happened.
Mm-hmm.
The minute you put that Packers jersey on, immediate hate. Immediate.
That's where Bears and Lions fans agree.
Yeah. Buck, you're still fucking upset about the fucking I still own you.
Yup. Which is why I kind of hope he goes to the Vikings.
So he can own you some more?
Yours?
No, so it could be the other way around.
Redemption, baby.
Yep.
Let's stay in the NFC North. We'll touch on the Lions, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Bears. Lions got DJ Reed and are releasing Za'Darius Smith. I'm excited to see Za'Darius Smith go. But do you guys know much about DJ Reed? Because I don't.
I know he's a dog.
Yeah, really good corner from the Jets.
Okay.
I know he's got skills. He'll be a perfect pairing with Terrion, I think. I don't think it's necessarily an upgrade from Carlton Davis, but based on the contract that Carlton Davis just signed for $20 million a year, and we'll get to that, but I think this was an upgrade in that sense because you paid what you paid for Carlton Davis on 1 year. You just paid a guy that performs similarly, and you paid him on that contract for the next 3 that you paid, because Carlton was on about 11 or something last year. Mm-hmm. And that's about what they're paying DJ Reed per year. So it's like, okay, you got the same caliber, and you didn't have to pay that $20 million tag. I loved Carlton Davis last year. I thought he would be a great re-sign. But seeing him sign for $20 million, I was like, all right, leave that to a high market team, and we'll take some guy with the same skill that can probably come in and fall into the culture the same way. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Bears.
I feel like I say that 8 times an episode. We'll see what happens.
I mean, it's the off season right now. All we can do is speculate.
Yeah.
So
we got months before any of this is going to come to fruition.
Right.
Buck, your Bears signed a center, Drew Dahlman.
Finally.
Signed Deo Odejingbo, defensive end. Joe Tooney from the Chiefs, guard. Grady Jarrett, defensive tackle, and Jonah Jackson, guard. How are you feeling?
A little bit better. I think with each signing, I'm getting a little bit, like a percentage or 2 of hope, which is a fucking very dangerous thing to have if you're a Bears fan. I'm sure you guys can fully understand that. I think the biggest one for me, shoring up the offensive line, this center. We desperately needed a center, a vet center. So this is going well. But the Bears, off-season champs every year, and then the season comes and everything shit. So for me,
4 seasons, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, again, it's we'll see what happens, right? You got to perform on the field, right? So I think all are great signings. I actually have no notes as far as like negatives for any of these signings. I do hope that they put him in a scheme, both offensively and defensively, that highlights the skills of these players. And I mean, I hope they don't just, hey, we signed this really good center. Hey, we signed this, all pro guard. And then it just all goes to shit because the play calling in the scheme is crap. So hopefully that's where Ben Johnson comes in and kind of shores all that up, offensive line first. Run first kind of, I feel like the Lions offense the past 2 years especially, everything was off the offensive line. If the offensive line wasn't performing, it was like switch scheme immediately kind of thing. So I'm hoping that same mentality, comes over to the Bears, because that's what we desperately need is offensive line help. So, and hopefully we
got a center and 2 guards, so, I mean, that's helpful.
Jonah Jackson is a dog. Let me tell you firsthand, he is so good.
Joe Tooney's a Pro Bowler, isn't he?
Joe Tooney's very good too. I mean, you don't hear much about offensive linemen in the media, and those are 2 names. Obviously, I'm a homer for the Lions, and Jonah Jackson played here, but I've heard plenty of Joe Tooney's names while listening and watching Chiefs games. He's doing it the right way. I know in our lost episode, I know this really hasn't been announced yet, but we did our coaching rankings, and this period has made me rethink my 3, 4, 5 slot. They were close before, but they're not even close anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe we can rehash those out maybe Thursday or another episode coming up here once the free agency period dies or something. But the Bears are surprising me in a different way than the last few years in free agency. Like all the wide receiver help they got last year, it was like, yeah, that's flashy and all, but how are you going to give him protection? Justin Fields had no protection. Well, we saw what happened. Caleb Williams took the most sacks out of any starting quarterback in the season. Part of that's him trying to extend plays, of course, but that him having to scramble that much is also a testament of why he took that many sacks, because he's a good-ass scrambler. So he should be able to get some of those off and not have a hand on his face every time. And I think that's what they're going to give him. I don't know where their tackles graded out, so they didn't replace those guys, but just replacing 3 out of the 5 with 3 really good, respected linemen across the league is going to be a world of difference going into his sophomore year.
Yeah.
Buck, I hope you're ready for a lot of trick plays over there in Chicago.
I'm not ready to see
It
them
all
back.
starts with the O-line, though. If that O-line can hold up, I'm ready for it. I'm tired of the screen, run for 2 yards, screen, sack, screen, sack, screen.
Mhm.
It's like, I honestly, I think I've had my healthy fair share of screenplays.
And now you should actually have
I
some
know
time.
that one by heart now. Like, geez.
Well, I'll say you're still going to see him. Ben Johnson still likes him, but he throws them in smartly. They're going to work more often is what's going to happen.
That's the big one, right? That's the big
Yeah.
one. You gotta actually have to get something out of it. So
You got to disguise it as something, or you got to make something else work before you just go screen, run.
I'm
A lot of wide
calling it
receiver
now.
block.
I'm calling it now. Keenan Allen is throwing a touchdown next season.
Easily.
like get rid of Keenan Allen.
What?
I think they're gonna trade him. I think he's out of his. I think that contract was only 1 year.
I was not aware of that.
I thought it was a couple years, but you might be right.
Let me check. But
I mean, either way, he was an impactor, but he wasn't Keenan Allen with the Chargers either way. So, I mean, depending on his price tag, it might be worth it to just cut ties.
And one of the other
his
things,
contract's up.
and one of the other things that made the Lions' offense so amazing was their wide receivers block like motherfuckers.
yeah.
If the Bears' wide receivers are going to be prima donnas and want to just run up the field and cry when they don't get the ball like they have been, it's not going to be as successful.
He's a free agent.
Oh shit! I was not aware of that.
I didn't realize he was a free agent either.
Yeah.
Was that a pickup, or was that wasn't a trade, right? That was a pickup by the Bears last year?
I don't remember. I thought.
I think that was-
That might have been 2 years ago now.
No, it was only one.
No.
It was only one.
Was it last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last year. Trying to get
It's wild.
but
Keep
yeah,
going,
he's a free agent, so they have the choice whether to re-sign him or not. I hope they don't re-sign him. I hope they kind of can get something else for it. I always liked Keenan Allen, but he's a glass box. So
Yeah. I mean, now we'll give Rome some time to shine.
yeah.
Some quick news we've got. Cowboys make a huge signing. You know, Jerry Jones always going all in. They got
That's my boy.
Javonte Williams from the Broncos.
Needed a running back.
Yep.
We'll see.
Didn't get an amazing one.
We'll see
They
where
also-
that goes.
That seems like a sidestep from Rico Dowdle a little bit.
Yeah.
They're still in Dak hell, though.
Yeah, they just signed an O-lineman.
But they didn't have-
Oh,
Sorry.
I wasn't aware of that.
He said that about Dak, and I started seeing red. What'd you say, Buck?
Dallas signed another O-lineman for a free agent from the Dolphins, Rob Jones.
Zach Martin retired, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Quick news too, Zach Wilson is now the backup for the Dolphins. Kenny Pickett is now with the Browns. Myles Garrett stays with the Browns. And Nolan, you had a comment on that?
Yeah, I think that the Browns have been overpaying players, especially with this Myles Garrett re-signing. He announced he wanted to trade out. The Browns were announced that they were looking for a trade out for him. And then they just decided to throw $40 million a year at him, $123 million guaranteed.
That's quarterback money.
What
Yeah.
the fuck is going on in the Browns organization? And why do they think that keeping Myles Garrett around like this is going to turn the franchise around at all?
I mean, they're a solid team. They just need a good quarterback play. They've got a really good defense. They've got Jerry Jeudy at receiver. They've got someone else, I can't think of his name. They've got Njoku at tight end. I heard that they're thinking about moving on from Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
I mean,
Their O-line is really good.
Yeah.
Their O-line is very good.
that'd be the big kicker, wouldn't it? That's the big thing. Aaron Rodgers with the Browns.
Yeah, no, I just thought about that. I'm like, damn.
But
Just it popped in my head, but that Zach Wilson to the Dolphins thing might be interesting, like week 9. If Tua gets hurt again,
yeah,
that might be interesting.
I mean,
But,
he'd be an
sorry,
upgrade
I
over
just
like a
wanted to touch
he'd be
on that.
an upgrade over like a Skylar Thompson or a Mike White.
Exactly. Like at least you're putting somebody in there who's like played NFL snaps on a regular basis and even got a year under Sean Payton now
Yeah.
as your backup. That's smart by McDaniel.
The Patriots made some big splashes too. They got defensive tackle Milton Williams. They got Carlton Davis, who's a DB. Morgan Moses, offensive tackle. Robert Spillane, dog-ass linebacker. Harold Landry, linebacker. And then they got Josh Dobbs to be their backup quarterback. Are they?
Yeah.
They've still got Joe. What's his name? Joe Milton.
Kobe Brissett. Joe Milton.
Yeah, Joe
they
Milton.
still have him. Absolutely.
I've heard that
Yeah.
they might trade him, try to get some draft capital. But yeah,
I don't know what you're gonna get though. Like that's sufficient. Like you got him in what, the 5th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. He's another project quarterback.
He is 100%. But
Yeah.
a project quarterback that was actually taken late, like most project quarterbacks are. You know, they're not going to get traded for something. Like, there's not going to be a blockbuster trade for Joe Milton unless he sees some actual meaningful snaps and shows what he can do with them.
Yeah.
There was some thoughts that maybe he'd go to the Titans, and then they pick Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah,
Why not Brock Purdy, though? Why not Brock Purdy, though?
Oh my God, not doing this again with you.
Well, now that Aaron Rodgers apparently isn't going there, then I guess it doesn't matter.
Okay, last bit of NFL news before we get into some Lexi's lore. Commanders have already gotten Debo with a trade. Now they just traded again. Got Laramie Tunsil. That I think is going to be a monster. They already had a good defensive line. I think that they already obviously made it to the NFC Championship, and then are adding more pieces too. I think they're going to be a nasty team next year.
Yeah, I don't see Jaden Daniels taking any steps back. I think he's going to move forward. Adding Debo to the arsenal is really going to help elevate his game because he's so versatile, able to work from the backfield, the slot, even outside. I mean, shit, watching Jaden Daniels run around against my Lions was shitty enough. Now you're going to have a couple other players out there who are going to be able to do it as well with him. Man, we're fucked.
Yeah.
This is really smart on the Eagles organization. Or the Commanders organization, and it's really smart on Dan Quinn knowing what he needs to do in his second chance as a head coach in the NFL and building around his quarterback. You go and get. I know Debo was to a lot of people in the national media. They're giving like all these fat jokes and overweight jokes, and I mean people said that about Luka, and he's thrown the most 60-foot assists in the last month than any player's ever thrown, but we're talking football tonight, so I won't go there. Adding a really good offensive lineman and then also adding Debo to Jaden Daniels' arsenal and like his bag of tricks, like that's the best thing you can do for a quarterback that got you to the NFC Championship in his rookie year. So I think that's really smart by them. They made some really good moves. They're kind of in that mode right now, in that moment where they can really just like be aggressive and build what you want to have here, and they're doing it, and I'm proud of them. Dan Quinn, I wish you all the best, but I hope we kick your ass this year.
Especially with the Eagles taking some steps back. I know they lost
Yes.
Darius Slay. They also lost a defensive lineman. I can't think of which one. But yeah, so the Commanders get better, the Eagles get worse. I mean, the Giants are nothing. The Cowboys are next to nothing. So, yeah. But that's it right now for our rundown of the free agency. We'll keep you guys updated on what's coming next. Are you guys ready for some Lexi's lore?
Let's do it.
Think so.
Pat, get her in here. What up, Lex?
Hey, Lex.
Hello.
What up, though?
Hey, Lex.
How's everyone doing?
Ready for some Lexi's lore?
Hell yeah.
I've watched a
get it.
YouTube video 2 days after we recorded, and somebody made that "what fills a room but takes up no space" riddle, and I was like, "It's light! It's light!" I was sitting there for like 30 seconds.
Yes. Okay. I forget every week. Let's hope this is the right button.
All right. Let me get this pulled up. We got a fucking about as much as you can do in a Discord right now. We got 6 boxes up here.
Maxing it out. Okay. So, welcome back everybody to Lexi's Lore. This week I went back to like the typical multiple choice, goodness gracious, style. This week is going to be a little bit different per usual, in a sense that we're going to do what weighs more. So, and also it's not week 3. That is very wrong, but that's okay. Yeah, so essentially I'm going to have 4 options of different things. Some are just a single item, some are like multiple items. And yeah, we'll have you guys guess and see which one you think weighs the most. And then on the answer screen, it'll have the weight of every single item that I listed too. So we can kind of compare the real numbers and see the answer.
Cool.
So yeah, you guys ready to get started?
Think so.
Let's do
Heck
it.
yeah.
Okay. So question 1, what weighs more? A PS1, the Sega Genesis, by the way, a Wii, or the GameCube? Thoughts?
PS1 or a Sega.
I'm going with the oldest. I'm going Sega. I'm thinking they had to put the most hardware in it. GameCube was a little smaller. The Wii was not heavy. So
The GameCube, I think that thing had some weight to it.
It did. I'm gonna take the
yeah,
PS1.
I guess for how small it was, yeah.
Buck?
I'm going PS1.
Okay.
I'm going PS1.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's everyone's answers here?
PS1 for me. PS1 for Buck.
GameCube Nolan.
Sega,
Okay.
Kyle.
Sega Kyle, bet. Is somebody keeping track of scores?
I got
Spence, you
it. Yeah.
this?
Yep. I got it.
Okay, bet. Thank you. And drum roll. Nolan, we got the GameCube.
Damn.
So GameCube was what, 5.3 pounds? PS1 is only 3.2 actually. Sega was closest, 4.25. But still pretty small actually. And then the Wii, everyone knew that was small. I just needed another console that wasn't like the PS fucking 5.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So,
Those
yeah.
were the 2 I was debating between, were Sega and GameCube, but I just took it to older hardware. It was gonna weigh more, but you had it.
Yeah, Nolan knew it. That fucking GameCube was a unit.
Yeah, there was a lot of plastic in those really, really old ones too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Hell yeah. Okay. Nolan's starting off strong. Let's go to question number 2. What weighs more? A Game Boy Advance, a Nintendo DS, the original, not the Lite, the PSP, so PlayStation Portable, or the Nintendo Switch Lite?
It's the DS for sure.
Switch Lite is really close, I feel.
Yeah, it's the DS.
I'm gonna go.
Wait, which one's the Game Boy Advance? Is that like
The flip. The
It's
flip
the
down.
flip one.
Okay,
That
that's-
one's not the heaviest for
Yeah,
sure.
so, oh shit.
It's either the DS or the Switch. But it's a Switch Lite too.
I've held a Switch Lite before. I'm just thinking about my normal Switch, and that's about. I'm gonna have to go with the DS, the old regular.
Yeah, that thing was heavy, man.
That thing was a brick in the pocket.
I know I only owned a 3DS, but that thing, that thing was heavy.
And that was lighter than the regular one.
Was it? Okay. All right. There you go.
Is everyone going Nintendo DS here?
Yeah, because they even made a DS Lite, which was smaller. Yeah. So, wait, is it DS for everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nolan?
Lame.
Yeah, locking in.
Okay.
Locking in. Okay, here we are. And you're all wrong. It's the PSP. That bitch was a brick as well.
What?
Spence still has one.
Dude, that was so. They were literally 0.1 away from each other.
No, I got a PSP Go, which is much smaller. I still would have never thought that weighed the most. That's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Damn.
My cousin had one. I only held a PSP a couple of times.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Let's go on to the next one. I was worried that you guys would get these that they'd be too easy, so I'm glad.
Nolan, show everybody your cup.
You just got some dumb castmates. That's what you got.
That bitch is cool. That bitch is cool.
I think it's a real golf ball too, actually.
That bitch is cool.
That's cool.
Crank that thing out when you lose one. Just pop it out of there.
I don't lose golf balls.
Hey,
That's the biggest lie I've ever told.
What's next, Lex?
Okay. Next up, we've got what weighs more. These are all phones, by the way. So the old Razor cell phone, the classic, not the remakes of any of these. The old classic BlackBerry, the iPhone 4, or the Sidekick.
Ooh.
Razor.
I'm going the Sidekick.
Going iPhone 4.
That thing was heavy as shit. I'm going with Sidekick.
this is the original BlackBerry.
That thing was also heavy.
I'm going BlackBerry.
All have got different answers here.
Something different? I love that. Okay, let's go over whose answer is whose again.
I'll do the Razor.
I'm taking BlackBerry.
Okay.
Sidekick.
And then Nolan's got the iPhone 4. Okay, bet. What's the score so far, Spence?
Nolan has one.
Oh. Okay, bet. And Sidekick. This one goes to Buck.
Damn.
I wanted to pick that, but I didn't want to pick.
Actually.
That thing was so heavy.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
That is not what I was thinking of for the Razor. I'm looking at this picture now and I'm thinking that I fucked up big time.
Razor, I was like, okay.
Okay.
Man.
You must be younger than you look, Spence, if that's not what you pictured when you heard Razor.
I didn't have a Razor.
I didn't either, but I know that was like the coveted phone.
I knew it was a skinny flip one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn it.
There was a reason I didn't include the pictures before, like with just the name.
Smart.
So
My dad had the OG BlackBerry, and I was young, but I remember it being so heavy to me, so that's why I was like, all right, I'm going there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just remember those old iPhones being fucking bricks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. For
Nothing on the
sure.
Sidekick, though,
Especially the
apparently.
4. Maybe it's because the double layer with the Sidekick.
Right.
Okay, let's go to the next one. So question number 4. I think it's about halfway through. What weighs more, a volleyball, a dodgeball, 2 hockey pucks, or 2 softballs?
2 hockey pucks. Lock
2
it in.
snowballs.
2 softballs.
Nolan?
Hockey pucks.
Hockey pucks?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got Nolan and Kyle on the hockey pucks, and then Spence and Buck on softballs.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So this one actually blew my mind. It's a fucking dodgeball.
Damn it, that was going to be my
Dodgeball weighs
answer.
more.
What?
That blew my mind. I thought the hockey pucks was going to be a lot fucking heavier too, but yeah, they're only 5.5 ounces a piece.
If
So
you would've-
11 ounces in total.
If you would have put a basketball on there, I definitely would have said that.
Yeah. Hey, look at the softballs way more than the hockey pucks.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too, Spence.
Still don't get a point.
And then let's give a second for the graphic of Wilson and dodgeball. Okay, on to the next. So what weighs more? 2 monster truck tires, 50 Prius tires, an 8-passenger golf cart, or one of those smart cars?
What the fuck?
Let's hear your thoughts. I don't think
How
really
big is an
many.
8-passenger golf cart?
It's like 2, 4, 6. It's like the 3 rows and then the 2 at the very, very back. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay,
I
are we
feel like-
talking? Are we talking tires with rims?
No, just the tire.
Just the rubber.
I feel like C and D are too obvious, and let me run with A. I'm taking 2 monster truck tires.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with a smart car.
I'm going with 50
Smarter?
fucking tires. That's a
I know
fucking
that's what I
lot of
was.
weight.
That's what I'm going with. I'm going with 50 tires.
50 Prius
Smart
tires?
car.
I'm going with 50 tires.
Smart car's probably the lightest, but I'm going with it.
Oh yeah. Okay, drum roll because I don't remember the answer to this one, and it is the monster truck tires.
Ah!
Yes, but the smart car was actually pretty close. It was what 1,600 pounds for the monster truck tires. We got 1,500 for the smart car.
Wait, that way.
1,350 for the Prius tires, and then 1,270 for the 8-passenger golf cart.
Those bitches are 800 pounds.
Damn.
Isn't that crazy?
Y'all
I
I gotta
know
got
say,
it
the
varies,
math,
obviously,
wait, the math
depending,
isn't
but
adding
yeah.
up though.
where?
You got Prius tires at 1350 winning, but monster truck actually wins based on the math.
No.
Oh, I've got monster truck winning A.
Oh, you do?
Sorry, my
Okay, okay.
visual's
I'm
a
sorry.
little,
I saw the gray on Prius and I got tripped up. My bad.
No, you're so good. Usually I omit all the other answers so it's easier to see, but
Yeah.
but yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Y'all gotta put
because
on
we're trying to
your
get the specifics.
y'all gotta put on your standardized test thinking, you know what I mean? She
Yeah.
got she
Yeah.
got
Spence, that was your one you got right?
I did.
It was once again. That was my choice, but I didn't want to go with you. So like I didn't want to ride next to somebody else. So I should stop doing that. I should stop doing that.
I know you might have got
I
a
was
point.
only 100 pounds
Listen to
below
that
you.
shit, I'm going the opposite.
Yeah.
God
Okay,
damn.
Spence, score check.
Everyone's got a point,
That's
but Mr. Mustache.
Oh no, Kyle.
Couldn't be me.
Well, it's not me, so. Okay, on to the next. Oh wait, by the way, this is Shaq inside the smart car. I forgot. The visual is Shaq inside the smart car, and then this is
God.
him inside the smart car
That's
with
fucking
John
crazy.
Cena.
John Cena, no
Damn.
less.
I
don't see anybody else there.
was gonna say I only see Shaq.
Okay. Oh, okay. So now this is the next part. This is duos. So I'm listing 2 people, and you have to name which of the 2 people you think weigh the most out of the bunch. Okay.
Okay.
I think I only did 2 questions of these. These are the last 2 questions. I think 2 or 3. I can't remember, but yeah. Let's give it a whirl.
Kyle, you better catch
First
up.
one. Which duo weighs more? Skip and Shaq.
Skip Bayless?
Jokic, yes, and Steph Curry. Austin Reeves and LeBron, or Karl Anthony Towns and Connect. Thoughts?
Yo-
This is a good one.
It's Jokic and Steph.
I'm going D. Cat and necked.
I don't know what weight you put Shaq at, but I'm going A because I kind of I know he's pushing 3 and Skip has to be pushing 2. So
No
Shaq was
way.
315 in his playing days, 320. So they have to be
You
500. So
think
yeah, I'm
Skip
going
is
there.
200 pounds?
Yeah, I think he's like 180. Yeah.
Skip
I
Bayless.
think Skip's like
You
140,
said
dude.
160 soaking wet.
That's an old frail man.
He played high school basketball. He could be 6 feet tall and a little skinny.
Nah, look,
I'm
Kyle's seen all
skinny as
the,
hell, and I'm still 165.
Kyle's seen all
Have you
those
seen
pictures.
him throw his Dallas jerseys? It's like he's throwing a toothpick.
Kyle has seen all those pictures of Skip standing on his desk with his Jordans on and thinks he looks ferocious.
You know how big Shaq is? He makes this bitch look like a Teletubby, bro. He looks tiny.
Is this Shaq's peak weight?
All right,
Yeah,
I'll be
is
honest,
this
it's
big
whatever
weight?
Google has listed, so I
Damn.
don't know.
All
I'm
right.
so
I
sorry.
hope they still got Shaq kind of fat, but
I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm sticking with Cat. I'm going D.
I'm going C.
Okay,
I think it's
Spence, you
Jokic
going
and
B?
Steph. Yeah.
okay, and then we got Kyle with Skip and Check. Well, Kyle, you're on the board.
Damn.
Shaq is
Freaking
324 pounds
hold
listed
you.
on Google. And
Damn.
Skip is only 165. So, yeah, he overcompensated a lot.
Hey, look at
I
that
said
gif.
maybe
Look
180.
at that
I said
gif.
maybe 180 and that they were pushing 500 together. That was a good guess.
It was.
was.
That was a really good guess.
Hey.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, Kyle with the critical thinking.
Look at that gif
I have to.
of Skip.
Spence put the pressure on.
Look at that gif of Skip.
Buck mentioned the Dallas jersey. I was like, I literally have that gif in here.
I thought
knew
the Shaq would
Dalton
be
Neck
too
was
obvious.
Fucking jacked.
I mean, they were all pretty close, though, to be honest.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were all close. That was tough. I like that question.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got one more.
Bro.
Look at the
Okay.
284. Are
Hey,
we
wait.
sure about that?
Steph only weighs 20 pounds more than Skip.
Now, these are all what Google listed, so 284 is probably before he, like, you know what I mean? You know, he got a little chunky the last couple of years. I feel like he slimmed down recently. That might be before.
Yeah.
True.
I feel like 165 for Skip is being generous.
Why does
I don't
Google
know.
have Why does Google have Skip's weight?
Why does Google have any of these weights? That's
Yeah,
Well,
there's-
you get weights for
I mean, look
professional
at all-
basketball or for professional players.
I guess it's good.
You know what I mean? Why
According to
would,
Google, he's 5'10". So 5'10", 165 is actually like an average, like skinny old man height and weight. So I see it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sit here and like I'm not
player?
Skip Bayless's keeper here. I'm not trying to defend it. Spencer's acting like I have an emotional stake on him now because I said that. He's sitting here like I can feel it from you right now. You're like I'm questioning our friendship because you even chose an answer with Skip Bayless in it.
I ain't say shit. I ain't
Yeah,
say
it's
shit.
not what you said. It's not what you said.
It's what you didn't say.
I've got a fun trivia to add on to this. Do you know the heaviest NBA player that's active right now?
Joel Embiid.
It is Boban, big boy.
He's not.
Oh yeah.
He's not
Bobby.
active. He's not active still, is he?
Oh, well, if it's
Mariano.
not him, then it's Zion. Zion's number 2.
Zion weighs more than
Hold on.
Joel.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's insane. Oh my god.
Dude, he was up in the 290s when he was at peak fat.
Oh my god, dude.
Wow.
That's why he can't fucking play.
R.I.P. Yeah.
284 pounds.
Isn't that crazy?
It's a
Big
man.
boy.
I was surprised by Cat being 248.
No, I knew he was a big motherfucker. He's jacked and tall.
Damn.
That's fair.
Damn.
He's just so zesty, I forget.
It is.
Okay, are you guys ready for the last question, which I think it's a tiebreaker right now, right? Or does
Yeah.
everybody winning?
We're all at
Is
Yeah.
one.
everybody at one?
Yes, okay,
at
so
one.
let's see it. We got another duo. So, which duo weighs more? We got Jake Bates and Travis Kelce. We've got Mark Andrews and Tyreek Hill. Josh Allen and Taysom Hill. Or Mahomes and Tom Brady.
It's either B
See,
or C.
Josh Allen, Taysom Hill.
I'm going
See.
C.
See.
Well, fuck it then. Mark Andrews and Tyreek Hill. Let's go.
Everybody's C and then Spence is B.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spence just took the L.
And Spence did take the L. So
Damn.
it is Josh Allen and Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is also huge, 220 pounds. I was
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, if they
Even
would have been all
Geno.
football players and basketball players, weights combined, I would have had that whole round. I would have sweat.
I gotta say, zero chance Jake Bates is 200 pounds.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
203?
Yo, you're telling me that Tom Brady weighs more than Tyreek Hill?
Isn't that wild?
I
was also
believe
surprised
that.
by Tyreek
He's
Hill.
he's a little bit
Wow.
taller.
Height.
He's
Yeah, I mean,
tall.
yep.
Tom Brady was also like tall and cut. Mahomes is kind of, he got a little body.
I think Mahomes a little shorter than Tom.
And
but
they're the
yeah, I
same
hear you.
weight?
He's got a little.
They're the same
He's
weight.
got a
though.
little permit weight. Yeah,
That's
I don't know.
crazy. I demand a recount. I knew Josh was a monster. I thought Taysom would be big too, but I didn't want to just rock the same as y'all. So you all win and I lose. Fuck y'all.
Woo, it's a
Thanks for
fucking
inviting us to
opportunity.
be your co-host, Spence.
See you next week where it's just me and Lex.
Yeah. Like take everybody out and we do trivia for an hour and a half.
Oh. Okay, well that's all, folks. Thanks again for tuning in.
Thanks, Lex.
Yeah. Of
Thanks,
course.
Lex.
We'll see what
Thanks, Lex.
obscurities we're on next week. Of course.
All right, guys. That's all the time we got for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, if you liked what you saw, leave us a subscribe, a like, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If there's any topics you want us to cover moving forward too, let us know that in the comments as well. Once again, we got the whole cast here. We got Nolan and Kyle.
Peace.
And Big Buck.
Peace.
This is your boy Spence, and we out.